What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum, and some of you might have already listened to episode 177, which featured a recap of my trip to the Dallas Card Show. Well, I've decided to also make a video to go along with that as well, so that way I can cover some of the sights and sounds that went with that I couldn't capture as well with the audio. So what you see right here is a video of the show floor from Thursday night. So this was kind of the early access, and it's really just when dealers are starting to get prepared. So I didn't know what to expect. I guess I thought when I came in that everything would be full, but I was kind of surprised with how empty it was, but I guess that's normal, and there's nothing wrong with that. Eventually things did get set out, though, including this Bill Russell rookie that I saw pretty early in. Those of you that listen to the show, you know I have been on the hunt for a Bill Russell rookie. That one was a little high for me, so I decided to keep looking. And as I was looking, spotted some incredible cards. So hopefully I'll be able to show some of those for you today. You see a Wilt autograph. I'll pan down here in a moment. You'll see a Jordan autograph. You'll see a Jackie Robinson cut. So that's kind of something that I like about these big card shows, is that they provide me with an opportunity to see major cards in person that I wouldn't normally see, save for maybe Instagram and save for maybe the National, which I'm not going this year. So here's another booth that had a lot of nice stuff, including some PMG reds, some PMG greens. And then there was this booth here, where there were three 52 mantle lined up in a row there. The dealer was talking about those, and just casually there's a 51 mantle and a Jackie Robinson rookie above it. I turned the corner, there's a Contenders Brady auto. So there was no shortage of amazing cards at this show. There was also no shortage of Bill Russell rookies. And I say that, I only saw a handful of them, but that's probably the same amount that I saw at last year's National. So here was an SGC2. I wanted to make a deal for that, but it was just too far above my what I was willing to spend. So I kind of slept on it and hoped to make an offer the next day. In the meantime, I found another vintage basketball seller. You see his Mike and rookie right there. And he also had this cigarette case that supposedly was gifted to Alex Hannum, who was the player coach of the St. Louis Hawks, for making the 57 playoffs. And that's something that I certainly didn't expect to see there. I didn't grab it on the first day, but I was thinking about it. And a lot of these shots happened over Taco Bell, which probably wasn't the greatest decision, but it is what it is. Take better care of yourself at a card show. While we were enjoying Taco Bell, though, I got some gifts from some of my friends, Chad and Carter. You saw there was a Jeff Foster Chrome rookie that was signed, and then Carter gave me a big old stash of different Pacers and Fever players and silver cards that all fit the binders that I'm working on. He knows kind of what is in my collection, so it's always good to have good friends in the hobby that will gift you some of these things, and we try and exchange from time to time. So anyway, went to the hotel room, slept on it. The next morning, I went to a value box and found these two cards here. The bigger of the two, obviously, being the Paul Pierce Rookie Legacy. I got that for $10. I don't have a video of it right now. I just have the picture, but I couldn't go without showing that. You saw that in my Top 5 Digs video if you already watched that. And then it was back to the show floor to look for that Russell. And while I'm looking, I see Kobe's. I see all sorts of, high-end cards. You see some Giannis stuff there. I noticed this case here, which had a lot of 2000s basketball, and that resonates with me. That is my favorite era. And I saw this card tucked in the corner, which was a short print autograph of Earl Lloyd, who was the first black player in the NBA. So I made a trade for that. I traded my Bart Starr autograph. From there, it was on to a couple of the smaller rooms on the side, even though the show was comprised mainly of the big room. This smaller room here was full of snap cases that had 2000s era relics. Once again, my favorite era, so I was finding that stuff. Here's some of what I picked up. I got this Billups autofocus trilogy, which is like on glass. This Jay Billis Duke auto, never seen that before, so I grabbed it. I got some finals relics here, which fit my collection. No big names necessarily, but as you see here, Darko. So definitely not big names, but they're cards that I needed nonetheless. So I was happy to find those. And then lastly, I found this Kevin Love printing plate, which I have a collector friend that collects Kevin Love. So that was one I could finally show him that he did not have. So I was happy about that. Here's another of the smaller rooms. And if you look on that side wall there were 5-row boxes. Those were full of relics from mainly the 2000s, also the 2010s. So I definitely had to sit down and go through those. Those were $5 a piece. Not any amazing deals there, and I'll show you what I found here in a moment, but That was kind of something I did just to take a break for a little bit. If I wanted to get off my feet or whatever, I could go in there and look at relics. I found this Sweat and Tears towel. That's another set that I like, obscure set. I found this Ime Udoka auto. He's the coach of the Celtics. And then I found this Luke Jackson autograph, the photo shoot autograph, which I actually ended up taking to the COMC booth, which was in one of the other side rooms. And this is one of the bigger side rooms that eventually housed the trade night. So I was able to take that in there. Like I said, COMC was set up in there. I already had my stuff printed out for my regular submission, but they also had a computer there where I could enter some other stuff. So you see them at their booth there. And hopefully that stuff will get in quick and it'll get on the website. I always like working with them. And then I found my Russell. It had changed hands at the show. The dealer actually had two different copies. So he had the SGC2 that I'd looked at the day before, but also this SGC1. And I ended up coming away with this. Thankfully, I was able to move that Gary Payton Star Rubies previously, and that gave me most of what I needed for this Russell, and then I was able to make up the difference with some other funds. So that was good. And I had enough left over to go chase down this cigarette case that I talked about earlier. So I ended up grabbing that. Now, after the fact, someone mentioned to me that there was someone selling engraved cases online, making a bunch of them after the fact. So I hope that's not the case here. I've got to do a little more research, though. I mean, this thing looks to be in great condition. So I don't know. You know, that's definitely not an area that I have expertise on, but here's hoping that this is a legitimate item. Okay. So at this point, I'm on cloud 9. I walk into the lobby. There's some Babe Ruth signed baseballs. There's some Nolan Ryan rookies. That's just kind of the way it is at a big show. You're just hit with these big items one after another, and you don't really become desensitized to them. You just keep finding them. But I always find my way back to the dollar box here, where I found an amazing find, this 1999 Prism Red Retail Parallel of Barry Bonds. And then I had to take video of this card here. I started taking video. The dealer knew exactly which one. He said, "Do you want me to take that out?" Okay. Next morning then, I wanted to do something that was kind of Dallas-like. So I ended up at the 6th floor museum. And this was the spot where, you know, Lee Harvey Oswald shot from and hit JFK, obviously, you know, depending on who you ask. But it was kind of eerie seeing this in person because I've watched so many JFK documentaries. You know, if you look over there to the right, you can't quite see it, but there's the grassy knoll. So that was a different experience for me. I guess here's probably a better shot of where the grassy knoll would be, and then the X's on the road. But then it was back to the show on Saturday where everything was packed. So this was probably where you had your most people here. Everyone had set up the 2 days before. Sunday, some people were leaving, but Saturday, everything was jam-packed. I was fortunate that I could just kind of hang out with people, including my friend Jarrett, who had this Lynn Bias auto that he got authenticated here. After we were done hanging out there, we ended up at Trade Night. Trade Night was in one of those smaller conference rooms once again, and it was packed and it was busy. You see even there on the left, you've got Brian Gray, who came with a case full of cash, and he was eager to buy and ready to buy from people. I actually ended up making a couple deals for cards that I didn't picture myself getting. One of them was a Bill Cowher autograph on a Ben Roethlisberger rookie. There's a similar set in basketball like that. And then this Tony Hawk competition used skateboard. So my rule of thumb is whenever I see something different, I grab it. A lot of times these cards end up at COMC, which is kind of what happened here after I did some digging, gave them another submission, and then like Jalen Brunson come Sunday, it was time to leave Dallas. So that's what I did. So it was on my way home. I kind of was putting all my thoughts together. This was a great trip. Was very happy with it. I had several goals going into this trip. One of them was simply to find some stuff for my PC that I wanted. And I did that with this Bill Russell that you see here, and also the cigarette case, although like I said, the verdict's kind of still out on that. I also wanted to meet up with some people that I had communicated with on a regular basis on social media. And then I just wanted to look at nice cards. So I accomplished everything. I am exhausted now, but it was an amazing trip. It was a great trip. I'm glad that I took it. So if you are considering another, big card show or a big trip in the future, I would definitely consider the Dallas show. You just want to prepare for it like you would anything else. All right. New episodes of the podcast come out every Thursday. And as always, thanks for watching.